Today, we're diving into one of the most powerful tools we have to promote healthy aging. I want to talk about dietary protein and how it's not just for building muscle. It's really about building the foundation for a strong, independent future. You know, when most of us hear the word protein, we immediately picture the gym scene. Protein shakes, heavy weights, giant biceps. But honestly, that's a huge misconception. And it's one that could seriously be costing us our long-term health. See the real story here? The one that really matters is that getting enough protein is the absolute key to keeping your mobility, your metabolic health, and your ability to live life on your own terms as you get older. So you've got to ask, where did we all go so wrong? Well, a big part of the problem, it turns out, is the official advice we've been getting for years. Okay, so the heart of this whole misunderstanding is the huge difference between just surviving and actually thriving. You see, the official guideline, the RDA, tells us we need about 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. But here's the catch. That's just the bare minimum to not get sick. It's not what you need to be strong and healthy. The newer research is showing we probably need to double that to around 1.6 grams per kilogram if we really want to thrive as we get older. So why do our protein needs suddenly shoot up like that? Well, it's all because of this thing called anabolic resistance. Think of it like this. As we get, our muscles kind of get, well, they get a little hard of hearing. They just don't listen to the protein we eat as well as they used to. So the same amount of protein that worked wonders in our 20s just doesn't pack the same punch in our 50s or 60s. We literally need more of it just to get the same muscle building result. But here's the crazy part, the real twist. We call it an age-related thing, but the research is screaming that the main driver isn't how many candles are on your cake. No, it's inactivity. Get this. Even young, healthy people can start showing signs of anabolic resistance after just a few days of being stuck in bed. So the takeaway is huge. Movement is what keeps your muscles listening. And all of this leads us to the real danger of getting protein wrong, a condition called sarcopenia. It's basically age-related muscle loss. And trust me, it's a sneaky thief. It doesn't happen the way you probably imagine. Yeah, you might think it's this slow, gentle slide downhill, but it's not like that at all. Muscle loss usually happens in the sudden sharp drops, like you get the flu, or you have a minor surgery, or maybe you just have a really lazy month on the couch. Your strength takes a big hit. Now, when you're younger, you bounce right back. But as we get older, you might only recover, say, 90% of the way, and boom, you've just set a new lower baseline for your strength. And the real long-term danger is that these hits just keep adding up, one after another over the years, and eventually this step-down process can push you right over the edge, across a threshold into what doctors call frailty. And that's when simple things, like climbing stairs or even just getting out of a chair, become a real struggle. Okay, so that's the strength story, but muscle is so much more than that. It's also crucial for our metabolic health. Seriously, if you've ever struggled with that stubborn belly fat, you're going to want to pay close attention to this next part. So I want you to think of your muscle mass as the engine of your body. It's your metabolic furnace. And just like any engine, the bigger and more efficient it is, the more fuel it's going to burn, even when you're just sitting around and you know what its favorite kind of fuel is: glucose, sugar. Healthy muscle literally soaks up glucose right out of your bloodstream. This makes you more insulin sensitive, which is a great thing. It lowers your insulin levels, and that in turn tells your body to stop storing so much of that dangerous visceral fat. The nasty stuff that's packed in and around your vital organs. Okay, so how do you build a bigger, more powerful engine? Simple resistance training. Lifting weights using resistance bands, even just doing body weight exercises. All of that sends a powerful signal to your body. Hey, build more muscle. But here's the thing. That signal is totally useless if you don't have the right building materials on site. And that's where protein comes in. Protein provides the raw materials, the amino acids that your body needs to actually repair and build the muscle. It's a perfect partnership. Resistance training builds the engine, and protein is the fuel. You absolutely 100% need both. All right, so hopefully by now you're convinced we need more protein. But the big question is how much exactly, and how do we figure that out the right way? let's get into the practical playbook. This is probably the number one question I get. And honestly, it's where most people make a really critical mistake, especially if they're trying to lose weight. Okay, let's walk through an example. Let's say we have a guy who weighs 110 kilograms. That's about 242 pounds. But his healthy target weight is more like 80 kilograms or 176 pounds. Now, if he does the maths using his current weight, he gets this monster number, 176 grams of protein a day. And for a lot of people, that just feels impossible. But the correct way to do it is to use his target weight. Why? Because your protein needs are based on your lean mass, not your fat mass. And when you do it that way, you get a much more realistic 128 grams per day. And that number, 128 grams, it's not just easier to hit, it's actually the right number for his body. This is why it's the standard in clinical practice. It's achievable and it's effective. Now, your specific goal also changes the maths a little bit. If you're just trying to hang on to the muscle you've got, you can aim for about 1.2 grams per kilogram of your target weight. But for that optimal healthy aging we've been talking about, that 1.6 number is really the sweet spot. And then there's a third category. If you're really focused on losing that visceral belly fat, or if you're on a GLP-1 drug, like Ozempic, that crushes your appetite, you have to aim even higher, at least 2 grams per kilogram. That's to make double sure that you're losing fat, not that precious muscle mass. So if there's one thing you take away from this, let it be this. You cannot separate protein and resistance training. They are a non-negotiable duo. Think of it this way. Protein provides the raw materials, the bricks. Resistance training provides the signal. The construction crew, you put them together and they fight back against that anabolic resistance. You put them together and they protect your future independence. And yet, look at these numbers. It's pretty staggering. Only about 22% of older adults are actually meeting the most basic recommendations for strength training. That means a whopping 78% are not. There is this huge, massive gap between what we know works and what people are actually doing. I mean, closing this gap could do more for healthy aging than almost any pill we could invent. So let's just reframe all of this for a second. This isn't about some short-term diet or a quick fix you do for a month. This is about making a long-term investment. You are literally building your future self, the person you want to be in 10, 20, even 30 years from now. So let's boil it all down into a super simple, actionable plan. Here it is, the 4-step formula for a stronger future. Number 1, eat enough high-quality protein every single day. Number 2, make sure you calculate that protein goal based on your target weight, not your current weight. Number 3, get in some kind of resistance training at least twice a week. And number 4, just try to avoid long periods of sitting. Break it up. Move around, avoid being inactive whenever you can. And that's it. It really is that simple and that powerful. The muscle you build today is quite literally the independence you're buying for yourself tomorrow. So the only question left is, are you ready to make that investment?